Hello, everyone. Come on in. The water's fine. We're going to just give a little bit more time here as people are still coming in. And hopefully, it looks like this may be, I may have to keep going back and admitting people in, unfortunately. So I'm trying to keep an eye on that. But I'm excited for tonight. Thank you guys for showing up. You can feel free to have your cameras on or off. It's fine with me. I'm going to be having my camera on, obviously, to just talk to you guys in the beginning a little bit. And then I'm going to go to my screen sharing so that you can actually see what I'm doing in Canva. And so you're not just staring at my face while I talk about Canva, because that would not be helpful for anyone. So I am going to make it my goal to make sure that it is informative tonight, but also fun, because I am the type of person that I like having fun. And I really don't like having to jump through a lot of hoops and deal with a lot of information stuff that feels like it's not at all going to be readily applicable. And so when I talk about things that I'm trying to relate to other people as far as information, I really try to make sure that it's engaging and informative and fun. So, hey, it's a Monday night, right? I mean, who wants to be not having fun on a Monday night, because you've probably had not much fun during the day on Monday. So we're going to get into some cool stuff tonight as far as some just tips going on what you can do with Canva. Just we're going to scratch the surface, honestly, because there's really so much you can do with it. My goal tonight is for you to at least have a sense of how you can pretty quickly get up and running with at least 3 graphics I'm going to show you tonight in 15 minutes or less. So I don't know that I'm going to actually start like an egg timer or something, or have something going off and telling me that it's 15 minutes and race to the finish. But I want to show you that sometimes we can overcomplicate things. Sometimes we think that we have to, we have to make so many adjustments and things, and we get lost in menus and we try and figure this stuff out. And it becomes so frustrating. And so I hope that after tonight, at least some of the frustration will subside, and that you'll be able to see that you can do something fairly quickly, fairly simple, and have it have impact. Because that's really what we need to do, right? We need to leverage this thing, Canva, as a tool. We shouldn't be wrestling with it and having it steal a lot of our energy and our time, and have us feel like we walk away from it more confused than we started. So just going to wait a couple more minutes here. If you guys want to just throw in the chat and say, hey, you're more than welcome to do that. If you want to let us know who you are, where you're from. I think I know most of you guys. If you don't know me, I will give a short little introduction as soon as maybe another couple of minutes or so we'll let pass, just in case any more stragglers come in. And this way, you can kind of know at least a little bit of my background and why I'm doing this, what the point of me, again, doing this tonight to help you guys. And I think it's going to be hopefully eye-opening in some things. And if you have a design background, great, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. If you have no design background whatsoever and you're like completely lost when it comes to Canva and even design principles, that's totally cool too. I'm so glad that you're here. And we're gonna have fun tonight. So there's a couple of things that I want to make sure that you're aware of with Canva. So there's Canva, the free version, right? And obviously you have access to certain tools when it comes to the free version that are pretty basic. And so I have a pro account because of what I do and because of making templates and things like that. And just being that I'm a design professional, I opted to go for the paid one. It's only, I believe, maybe $15, $16 a month. subscription. I don't get paid by Canva to tell you that, but I'm just informing you so that way, if there are certain features that you think you might need on a regular basis or that you might be interested in, you may want to opt for the Canva Pro account. It will give you some more access to, if you use a lot of photos, kind of built-in photos and built-in art that's there, and some other features. Like there's a nice feature where you can actually silhouette somebody out of a picture. In other words, remove the background. And so some of those features are only for the Pro version. So just be aware of that. And my Canva account may look a little different than yours if you do not have the Pro version. So just want to make sure you're aware of that. So again, I want to say, thank you guys for coming. And I really appreciate that you're giving this time tonight. I don't take that for granted. Again, I really hope that you'll have fun tonight, that it'll be informative and that you'll walk away with something that you feel like, okay, I have some more knowledge than I did previously, and that you actually can put something into application even after this call. And just want to give you a heads up, anybody who can stay to the end, I have something special for you guys. I'm going to give you guys something that will be a little gift for your time. And I think it'll be well worth it for you. So if you can hang out to the end, you will get that. And the other thing is that, so I'm going to give you an overview, like I said, in the context of creating 3 graphics in about under 15 minutes. My goal is to not take any more than 45 minutes, tops an hour. So I'm going to be moving pretty quickly. I'm going to make sure that I hit all this stuff in a way that makes sense, hopefully. If there's time for questions at the end, I will certainly try to do my best to make sure that I answer those questions. But we'll kind of see where we are as far as how much time is left. And if you're in a Daily Creative Habit group, I know many of you are, you can feel free to post some questions in there. If you don't know what the Daily Creative Habit group is, it's a private Facebook group that is on Facebook, obviously, like I just said, and it's free to join. Anybody who is a creator, maker, you can just hop in there and be a part of that group and community as well. So there's not going to be any posting examples of this. This isn't necessarily a class, Cheryl. This is more of a demonstration. So feel free if you want to take notes, or if you just want to kind of observe, that's fine. Again, my goal is to show you how to do these 3 graphics that I'm going to kind of go through fairly quickly. Just so that you get a sense of how you can move into and out of Canva in a way that's not going to frustrate you and suck all your time. Because when it comes to Canva, a lot of times people get frustrated because there are so many options. There are so many things going on, and you think, I'm getting in here to use this as a tool so that it can make my life easier. And yet, therefore, all of a sudden, with all these things going on, I get confused. There's too many menu options. Maybe your messaging isn't clear when you sit down to actually try to do this. And so you just get sucked into something that you feel lost. And so for tonight, I want to give you a little bit of an anchor. I want to give you something that's very practical and show you, again, how you can do something fairly quickly. So I'm going to, without further ado here, I'm going to jump into things. I'm going to share my screen and then start to just show you a little bit of what's happening here. I'm trying to do my best to make sure that I'm letting people in because people are still requesting. Unfortunately, I have to keep an eye on that as well. So this is going to be a little tricky, but let's see if I can share my screen here. I will go ahead and make sure I get the right. Let me just switch let me switch to something here. All right. All right, I'm going to share my screen and hopefully you guys all see that. I'm going to put you guys over here and let's see. Bigger. Okay. So this is Canva. This is, what you'll see when you're logged in, the home screen. And again, there's like a million different drop downs and things. And if you're not familiar with Canva, it can be very overwhelming. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new document. Again, if you guys have questions and stuff, let's try to hold stuff to the end, just because I can't necessarily navigate doing all the logistical things of working Zoom and Canva at the same time. So I'm good, but not that good. So we're in Canva here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go up here where it says create a design. And so I'm going to click this, and you'll notice again, another drop down with a more million different options. What we're going to do for tonight, I'm going to go ahead and choose Instagram post, which is a 1080 by 1080 pixel square. This is the most popular social media graphic that you can find on Instagram. You can use these on Facebook and elsewhere as well. So I have this blank document now, and there's all the stuff over here that's pre-populated as far as designs that I could use that are templates that are already built into Canva. Part of the problem with that is sometimes you think, oh, let me choose a template over here, and you pop it in here, and then all of a sudden you just get lost in the template because you have an idea of maybe of what you want to do, the information you have to put in there, but then all of a sudden the template starts to dictate what you can and can't do, and things don't fit right, and colors are weird, and you're not sure how to navigate all this stuff. And again, it becomes stressful. So we're going to start from scratch here. I'm going to show you again in under 15 minutes here. That's my goal, is to create 3 different types of Canva graphics. So I have a blank document. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go up to my background color here. I have pre-populated in here Mike Brandon Art and Design branding. I do suggest that if you have branding that you have established as far as colors, that you have that set up. If you have a pro account, it'll make life a lot easier because you can always access this really quickly. So I'm going to head and choose this blue. This is my blue. There's actually Mike Bone blue. That's what I've called this. So this is now the background color. Now what I'm going to start to do is bring in some elements. So if I go over here to the elements tab over on the left underneath templates, you'll see there's a whole bunch of things over here. Actually, I'm going to go down to uploads because I have uploaded some things in here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually bring in some sketch art that I have created. And I'm going to just pull on the sides here and size this a little bit. I'm going to actually make this into something that is a little bit more of like a background texture. And so I'm going to stretch that out a little bit, and I don't want it black. And the nice thing about this art that I've created in here is I can actually go ahead and change the color. So with it selected, if I hit this black color picker here, I can then go in and choose any color that I want. Now I want to stick within my branding color. So I'm going to choose white, but I also don't want that because that's kind of obnoxious. So what I can do is I can go over to this thing over here next to position, select this checkerboard, it says transparency, and I'm going to dial this down to about, let's say 20%. So it's what's sometimes referred to as a ghosted image. Then what I'm going to do is with this selected, I am on a Mac, so I'm going to go ahead and choose Option key, which I think is Alt key for PCs. And I'm going to just click and drag a bunch of copies. So basically, I've given myself like a textured background by just copying and pasting those things. I may actually want to select all these and go in and say, let's do 15%. That might be actually better. So now I've got my background, and what I want to go ahead and do is put some text in there, right? Because it's going to be a very boring graphic if there's no text. I go to the text tool over here, and I'm going to choose add a heading. This heading is coming in and it has Gotham as the typeface, the font. That is because that is part of my branding kit. And so I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. You may want to choose this little drop down here, and then you can choose, again, a gazillion different fonts. I would suggest that you keep things simple. As far as design rules tonight, what we're going to talk about is keeping it simple and clean and thinking about contrast. With those 2 design principles, you can get a lot accomplished. And when I say simple, also don't try to crowd your graphics with like paragraphs of text and trying to make sure that if you have some event or some other thing that you're trying to create a graphic around, don't try and say everything. Pare things down so that it's easily digestible. Don't assault people with stuff. So I have this in here, obviously add a heading. That's not what I want. What I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to create, let's see, I'm going to click in here. I'm going to say, this is my big idea. I want to spell things right, to share with the world. Okay, so here's my text, and I'm using this thing on the side here, this little bar, to make sure that I can get it sized how I want it to as far as how it breaks. And I'm like, okay, that seems pretty good. Maybe I'm going to grab this corner, scale it down just a little bit more. And I feel like, okay, that's pretty good. I'm going to go back to my uploads. I'm going to choose a, let's see, another graphic here, this line. And I'm going to put that above it and maybe stretch it out just a little bit beyond the edges of where my text is. I'm going to, again, hold down copy and hold shift and then make another copy so that it goes underneath. Not necessarily like the way that this is mirrored. So what I'm going to do is choose this, and I'm going to go to flip and flip horizontal. And that way, at least it feels a little bit more interesting. I'm going to take this actually also, and this little rotate button here, I'm going to click and drag, not that much, slightly. That feels pretty good. And I'm going to arrow key this thing down a little bit. So you see already it's starting to come together pretty good. I'm going to go back to text. I'm going to say, select subheading and grab this little crosshairs to move this. I'm going to scale it up from the edges, and I'm going to put, this is my little byline. And I want to add a space there. And like I said, I mean, as you can see, it's already coming together pretty good. So I may actually want to leave a version like that and go, you know what, that's clean. It's simple. Again, looking at contrast, you're looking at, there's this dark black text versus the background that is, blue. You've got this sketch feel to this very corporate type of feel for the typography, the font. So keep those things in mind. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually duplicate this page. I'm going to go ahead and remove a bunch of these background things. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to my uploads, and I'm going to choose, let's see, these quotes that I have sketch of. I'm going to scale this down. I'm going to move this up. I'm going to take this piece of line and I'm going to scale that down. And now I'm going to go ahead and go over here to a quote that I have, Pablo Picasso. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to, if I can find my, here we go. And I'm going to go ahead and select that, paste. I'm going to get rid of the quotes that are in here because that's redundant. And so I'm going to now also go back and copy and paste Pablo Picasso so that I don't have to misspell his name. And I can copy and paste. Try to have as much information as possible, ready before you get into your document, because it will make your life a lot easier. I'm going to select this text. Just if you double click in there, or if you on a Mac, it's Command A, and I'm going to go ahead and increase font size. So basically next to here, next to the font, you can either hit this and it'll do 1 point at a time. You'll notice it's jumping here, or there's presets. If you click in here, there are presets to certain sizes. I'm going to go ahead and go back and just do it a little bit more. And then I want to actually do a different line break. And I'm moving some of the stuff up a little bit. I'm going to delete this one because I don't want that. And what I want to do is actually, I want to have it so that there's the open quotes and closed quotes. Some of you who may be a little bit more, anal retentive will appreciate that, right? Because you'd be like, I can't just have the one side of the quote. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this, right? I just held Option and I duplicated that again. And you'll notice it's facing the wrong direction. Well, again, go up to our little menu here that says flip, click on that, flip horizontal, and voila, you have now the open and closed quotes, quotation marks. I'm going to go ahead and copy this again. So I'm duplicating this with my key command, and I'm going to move this down. I want to make sure that it doesn't feel crowded. So I'm moving some of the stuff around. I want to look at where is this lined up? Where is that lined up? This is all like basic design things. I want to actually bring this in. Now, if I go ahead and zoom in a bit, if I take this little bar down here, you'll notice I can magnify things because I want to get in here and make sure that I actually, you'll notice the cursor is changing when I go over certain parts of this box, right? This now what I don't want is that where it's like diagonal, because that's going to scale it. What I want is actually, and still not, I got to go in a little bit more. What I want is this straight one. And so let's see, I gotta zoom out again, make sure that actually feels okay. And then I think I might actually want to select the text and see, maybe I want to make everything a different, I think I like, maybe I like that better. I don't like everything. Some of this is a matter of taste, and I like to make sure that things feel a little bit more balanced as far as design. So that feels better already. And I think what I'm going to do is, now I'm just moving some things around a little bit so that there's a little more space taken. And I'm going to go ahead and change the color on this so that I want white elements. I want black. So if I'm doing a series of graphics, right, I can actually have some things that feel like they're related, but don't all look exactly the same, because people, when they see it on social media, may think, oh, have I seen that already? You know, you can tell that this and this are related. There are commonalities, right? But they don't look exactly the same. Therefore, you'll be able to catch somebody's attention a lot better. I think last thing, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to shrink this down just a little bit so that, again, we're talking about contrast, right? Want to make sure that there is enough balance. We want to make sure that things are lined up enough. A little trick also, you'll notice that some applications you may go in and they have like rulers on the sides and tops and on bottoms where you can bring out a guide and try and line things up. This actually does have that feature, but it's not, it doesn't come up automatically. If you go under File and then Show Rulers, or there's a key command there as well, you can hit, you'll notice now it pops up there. So if I want to bring a guide out and say, you know, where is this lined up? Is this, oh, like, see that? Maybe I want to bring this out a little bit more. And then you can snap that to that guide. And I want to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to go, okay, here. Yep, that's a little off. Okay. This is the stuff that is like the little bit that makes a big difference, because when something is lined up, we can tell that it looks a little more professional looking. It doesn't look like it was done sloppily. So a lot of design, once you get the initial design done, you're going back and making sure that you tweak those things so that everything, all the little things are all kind of buttoned up. Sometimes people refer to things as pixel perfect. And that's what you can strive for in that. So again, that's now we've got 2 graphics there. We're going to go for one more. And I think we're still under our 15 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and select all this stuff, actually delete that. I'm going to get rid of these guys. I'm simply clicking and dragging them off. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and use a photo, right? Because sometimes you're like, okay, I need something that's a quote. I need a big idea. And now I want to have something that's maybe like an introduction of, you know, who I am, or maybe it's an event, or, you know, some kind of identification, if you will. So I'm going to go ahead and go to scroll down in my uploads, actually, where I can find, I have a bunch of stuff in here that's from other projects. Finally, there we go. Okay, so there's me, a younger me with a little bit more pigment in my hair, in my goatee, but no judgment, right? Okay, so I've got this and I feel pretty good about the way this is sized. Now, also, if you click and drag around, you'll notice how these, sometimes you have highlights that happen. When this is perfectly in the middle, you'll see that purple line all of a sudden shows up. If I was to go here, you see now this is perfectly centered. Canva has a great way of setting things up so that you can automatically utilize some of these for alignment. When I went like this, you'll see now there's a box, and that's basically telling you like there's equal distance all the way around the sides, basically from where that box is. So I actually want it there because I want to add some things below it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to go back to my text. I'm going to hit add a heading again. I'm going to move this guy down. I'm going to drag the corner out. I'm going to put my name in here. And let's see, I want it in white. And I'm going to move this up a little bit. I think I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Again, if you're moving things around, you're scaling things, you can always grab it and check to see, is it still centered? There are also tools available that give you the ability to see, positioning, and there's a whole bunch of other tools up here that we're not going to have time to get into everything. But right now I've got my name there, and now I want to go add the subheading. I'm going to bring that down here. I'm going to make this bigger, and I'm going to say Canva graphic designer. It's kind of comical that Canva thinks that the spelling of Canva is a typo. We'll just let that be a meta moment for you guys and not Facebook meta. I'm going to scale this so that it lines up because it just feels a little bit more professional that way. And so, okay, I feel pretty good at that, but this is boring, right? This is not a very engaging graphic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go back over to my uploads. I have a sketch square that I'm going to overlay on top of this to give it a little bit more personality. And you'll notice it's like, it's not going to line up perfectly. Oops, let me undo that. I want to move this over a little bit, and I want it so that it's kind of a little bit like off. I want to change this to be white so that it sits on top of it. You can see it better. And so again, it just kind of looks like almost like I took a pen and I drew around my photo. It's getting a little bit better, but there needs to be something else in here. So I want another element that I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this wavy line here. Now you'll notice there's two of these. I don't want to do that because that looks dumb. And I can't just select one piece of it. So what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to go ahead and, oops, I'm moving the wrong thing here. I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way for a second. And I'm going to use the crop selection over here. So with this selected, I'm going to hit crop. And then you'll notice the rest of this gets grayed out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually grab the corner of this and slide this up so that the bottom one is hidden. I'm going to go ahead and hit done. And now I only have one squiggly line. I'm going to go ahead and change the color to white. I'm going to scale this down a little bit. And I think, let's see, maybe I want it in between these two. Sometimes you may want to play around with things a little bit. I want to actually select my name, and I'm going to go ahead and there's effects. Where's the, oops, that's not what I want. I'm losing where my menu is. Oh, here we go. I'm going to do all caps because I feel like that's a bolder way of displaying. Again, I'm making adjustments on the placement. Actually, I think I want to do this below. So I'm going to move this up. And remember what I said before about contrast, right? So the reason why I have this big and bold and I have this kind of a lighter, more italicized typeface is because I want to take advantage of that. And what I'm actually going to do too is I'm going to shrink this down a little bit more. And then I'm going to go to over here, these three dots. You'll see it's in position. No, that's not where it is. Sometimes they move stuff around here. Oh, this one, this is what I want, spacing. I'm going to go to spacing. And then what I'm going to do is actually letter spacing. If I grab this little thing and I toggle it out, or if you know a certain number you want to punch in, you can try that. But I like to do this by sight and then say, okay, I'm adding some space in between the letters. I'm going to click off that. That looks pretty good. I'm going to shrink this down just a little bit more, and I'm going to center that. And that's pretty good. Okay. I still feel like this is missing something else, right? Okay. So I've got this feeling pretty good. The next thing I'm going to actually do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add something that is, let's see. I think I'm actually going to add these in the background, kind of like I did previously with those X's. Now, obviously this is sitting on top and it's black. That's not what I want. I want to make this white. I want to go ahead over here to transparency. Again, dial that back down to maybe about 15. And then make sure it's still selected. And then when I go to position and I can send it to back. And I can just keep hitting backward until it's in the background. I can reposition it. I can then again do my duplication. I'm hitting Option on a Mac. And I'm basically just giving it some like texture for the background. And that kind of helps bring it together, right? So that you have that element that is repeated down here, the single one, it's bringing together the background, but it's not so obnoxious or in your face that it gets in the way. So there are my 3 Canva graphics that, again, you can see how quickly I put that together. Now, of course, like I said, I'm a graphic design professional. I've been doing this for years and years. You may have a little bit more time where you're in there trying to, tweak things and figure out where some menu items are and how to navigate around some of those things. But you can see this stuff can come together fairly easily. And you can have something that, again, we're not talking about a lot of text. We're not talking about a lot of elements. You're keeping it simple. You're making sure that there's good contrast so that it's engaging. And once all this is done, I can say, okay, well, I have now 3 days or maybe 3 weeks worth, if I'm only posting once a week or however often, then I can go to download. And if I go ahead and hit download, you'll notice that there are options for what kind of file you want to download. PNG is suggested. That's usually for a higher quality image. I don't necessarily suggest that for social media purposes because the files sometimes can get a little bit too much and it can take longer to upload, or it can sometimes get into some trouble. So if you actually want to do JPEG, you can do that. There are other types in here. There are things you can do in Canva that are video and animated GIFs and all those kind of things. We're not getting into any of that stuff tonight. Unfortunately, we don't have time for that. And that's kind of a whole separate animal when you get into motion. So for tonight, it was strictly this. If I go ahead and hit JPEG, I can select whatever quality. If I want to make sure that it's a little bit higher, I can certainly bump that up to 100%. Size, I typically leave at 1 so that it's staying within the 180 by 180 pixels. And then it says how many pages. If you only want to download, say, like one of these, you can unselect the ones that you don't. If you want all of them, you can hit that, and then you can say done, and then just download. And then there'll be this little thing that pops up, and it's downloading, and it's being happy, and it's going to show up in your download folder. It'll say, success, you've done it. Now you can go and post this to social media. So that's the quick overview of, oh, and there it goes. It was showing in my downloads. It just, that's a Mac thing that it shows you automatically. So again, it's fairly quick and fairly easy to do a lot of these when you keep it simple, when you have the ability to go ahead and use some elements and know what you're doing before you get in here, have a plan. I can try and field some questions in a moment. I'm seeing one right now. Does Canva have a social media schedule? It does have a social media scheduler. I'm not sure if that is only the pro account or not, honestly. And I don't specifically use that, but I know some other people who have, and it does make it easy because if you're creating the graphics in here and then you can post it right from within Canva, there's a lot less with downloading and hopping back and forth between things and uploading things to your phone if that's where you're posting things from, which is what I typically do. So that's kind of where the end of this part of the demo is. I said anybody who hangs on to the end here is going to have a little bit of a special thing. And what I actually want to let you guys know about is I am starting a Sketchy Canva Club. And so actually, let me bring this up. I'm going to go ahead and I want to let you guys know about this. So Sketchy Canva Club, basically, it's going to be some templates that I will be designing. And there are up to 8 different Canva templates for any given month. And that can be the 1080 size or also the 1080 by 1920, which is the stories, like Instagram stories, which are longer graphics. Along with sketch elements for each month, I'm going to have a select, sometimes there'll be lines with little splatter marks. Sometimes they'll be like those box or the quotation marks, those kind of things. And the starting price of this is going to be $12.99 a month, and that will give you access to that every single month. And basically what you get, again, it's 8 fully customizable social media graphics. It's posts that are 1080 square and the story size. You get a set of the sketch elements, which will be in the document. So all you have to do is copy and paste or use what's already in the template that I set up for you. If you just want to basically plug in your information and your colors, you can certainly do that very easily, very quickly, and then no hassle. Or if you want to just use these as parts and elements and create some more of your own, you have the ability to do that. I also include these sketch icons in SVG format and PDF. If you don't know what those are, that basically just means that it is an editable format. So if you wanted to use those elements, say in something other than Canva, if you happen to be somebody who has access to design software, or say like Adobe Illustrator or InDesign or something else, Photoshop, you could actually use these elements in programs outside of Canva however you like. You can use them as background images, you can use them as icons for things, you can use them for icons on a website if you needed that. Basically, however you want to use this, it's free for you to be able to use it as part of this package. And then lastly, a video walkthrough tutorial. So basically when I am creating these things, I'm going to record a little video to say, hey, here's what's in this month's package. You get these are the templates, these are the sketch icons, and here's how you can use it. And I'll be trying to pepper in there some other features of saying, here's how maybe you use this tool, or here's maybe something that you want to try to use for your own purposes. So again, really just trying to keep this really affordable of $12.99 a month. And here are some examples of what would be in even this first month for November. I have set up a carousel image. So basically, if you've ever been on Instagram and you've seen where it'll have one thing like this, it'll say, hey, here's my big idea, and then a little supporting thing, and you can put some of your information down below. And then it'll be like, number 1, here's the first thing I want to say about this. And then it'll go on 2, 3, 4, et cetera, et cetera. So I've set up ones where you basically have all this in here. Again, all you have to do is plug your information in. I've tried to make it so that if you don't necessarily have the sketch style is a little bit much for you because you're doing things that are a little bit more corporate-y feeling, that you're still having typography, fonts and such that lend itself to still looking very professional and not too whimsical, but that have elements that you can use that kind of break that so that it doesn't look like every other thing that you've ever seen, or even a lot of the pre-made templates that are already on Canva. This has something that's different, unique. It's custom. I'm creating these things from, by hand from scratch. So you have these elements that you can do whatever you want to in there. So this would be, again, on a separate page. All you would need to do is select, 07, 08, or this line, or this arrow, or this splatter mark, and then copy and paste it right into a new thing if you want, or you would go ahead and use the template that I've already set up. There will be other icons that as each month goes on, there will be a month where it'll be all about quotes, quotation marks, and If you use a lot of quotes in your social media graphics, from other people, like I did that one from Picasso, you could utilize this, talk bubble, speech bubble. You can utilize different quotation marks. I will show you how to basically use those and create, a series of graphics that you can basically, again, just use as is, plugging in your information in your colors and be off to the races. Or if you want to use those elements and create your own, I'll show you how to do that as well. And then say like an ending thing for the carousel where here's your results, here's a little bit more information. And again, it's carrying some of that same style, the line with the splatter across, so that there's a cohesive design to everything that's happening. So again, it's Sketchy Canva Club. It's only $12.99 a month. And if you go to sketchycanvaclub.com, it will bring you right to the page where you can sign up for that. And you guys are the first ones who are hearing about this. I'll show you also, this is what the page looks like when you go to become a member. And it gives you options over here on the side, as far as if you want to just go monthly, if you want to go quarterly, every 6 months, yearly, that option is yours. There's a little bit of breakdown again, as far as what you get. And every month I'll be dropping in new content. So, if that's something of interest to you, I'd love to have you guys as part of the founding members, if you will, of this club. And, I think it's going to be really valuable tools for everybody to use, so that, again, you can use these things and, create your own graphics or use the templates that I set up. It gets you in and out of Canva quicker. It gives you the ability to make sure that you're actually, not getting frustrated by this process, not getting bogged down in all the menus and all the different things. And as we go, I'm going to be, again, talking about certain tools, maybe a little bit more in depth. There may be the opportunity where if somebody has a question, that I use some of that as a question and answer time. This will probably evolve over time. Okay, so now let's see. I think I'm getting some questions here. I can try and spend some time on some questions. I did promise you guys that if you hung on to the very end, that I would also give you something else. It wasn't just the whole thing of telling you about the Canva Club. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to share the 3 graphics that I created on this demo. I'm going to set it up as a template. I'm going to copy and paste this link, and so that you guys can have this for free. And I'm going to paste it in the chat. So make sure that you go ahead and click that long link or copy and paste that. And that will automatically bring up a thing that says, hey, Mike Brandon wants to share this template with you. You can use that template however you like. And if you don't have an application right now for it, you can just keep it in your Canva account ready for whenever you need to put that into action. Okay, so let's take a couple of questions here. Would you recommend some of the graphics provided by Canva for those of us who don't have any original art? It depends on what you want to do. Some of it is good, some of it is not. Some of it is like old school clip art looking, you know what I'm talking about? The stuff that's really cheesy. I would stay away from that stuff. I do use some things in there that are typically a little bit more basic. Sometimes I'm looking for a rule or a line that's not hand-drawn looking. There's plenty of those to choose from, or a circle that's like just the outline of a circle because I want to put something else in it. Or maybe there's a certain graphic of like a QR code thing or a phone icon or some other thing. There are plenty of times where I'm choosing from that. Or quite honestly, if I'm doing something that's very photography heavy, I will go ahead and because I have the paid account, there's a lot more options as far as photos to use in there. So if I'm creating something that's an announcement for somebody, or, because I have this stuff I'm doing for client work. Some of you, maybe you're in that category, you're managing somebody else's accounts and you're creating graphics for somebody else. There are a lot of options for you when you go to the paid account. And even if it's just you're doing this for your own purposes and your own, trying to build your own brand or fill your own social media accounts with professional looking things, there are tons of options for sure. Let's see. I'm going to scroll back a little bit and grab a couple more of these questions. For someone who's brand new to Canva, and got a little lost after you after you did like step 3. Sorry. Where do you recommend learning basics? So Canva itself actually has some really great resources built in, and they have like a tutorial page where basically you can go in and click around. And if there are certain things that you're looking for that, let's say there's a certain tool or a certain method that you're trying to figure out how to do, you can go in and watch that little snippet on just that tool. Or there are ones that can bring you kind of from scratch to say, here's the basics. Here's where you go to click to say new document. And here's how you go and click and change the color in the background and all those kind of things. There is a ton of resources in there, just maybe making some time to look through some of the headings of what's there. David, you're saying you don't even know Canva truly. So look forward to seeing. Yeah, it really is a powerful tool, and it's just making sure that you don't let that intimidate you. Remember, you're the one who's driving the tool, right? You're the person who's in control of it. Don't let it dictate what you can and can't do, and to confuse you and make you feel frustrated where you don't even want to use the tool, because nobody likes being in that situation. Let's see. I think I'm going to scroll back. I'm not sure if there's more questions. If you have more questions, you can feel free to certainly leave them on the bottom there in case I didn't see it, or if there's anything else coming up. If you have any questions about the Sketchy Canva Club, again, it's going to be a monthly thing. It's available right now. So if you go there, you can sign up right away. And as soon as I drop things in the beginning of each month, you'll have access to that month's. And then you'll also have, like, if you sign up today, as long as you're signed up, you have access to those things. Even after, if you say in 2 months' time, you're like, hey, I'm not really using this, and you decide you don't want to continue with your membership, you will still have access to anything that you have had in the months where you were a member. So that stuff doesn't go away. You don't get locked out, any of that kind of stuff. And I'm going to be continuing to add a lot more of the sketch elements that may be even around certain themes, such as, the holidays are coming up. Maybe you want to use certain things that have to do with, Thanksgiving or Christmas, being grateful, those kind of things. I'm going to be providing some resources so that you can, again, just use those, pop those in really quickly. The nice thing about how I've created those is that you can select it and change the color. So if you happen to have it in there and it's black and you're like, black isn't working with my design, it's getting lost, I can't see it, it's clumsy, you can select it, change the color to whatever you want to, just like you saw me do with like that row of X's. I made it white, and then I changed the transparency, brought that down so that it was kind of a faded image in the background. There are a lot of things that you can do with that, and basically it's using those as elements. You're looking at your Canva document as if it's like the bowl, and all these other things are ingredients, right? You're bringing in text, you're bringing in some of these sketch elements, you're maybe bringing in a photo, you're bringing in a logo if you have one, some branding elements if you have those things. All those things are the ingredients of what's going into the bowl. And then you start to arrange them, and you start to just make sure that things are clear and designed well. Again, keep it simple. Don't try and cram everything in there. Make sure it's clear so that people want to look at it and they don't feel like they have to like shield their eyes and go, there's too much going on here. It's confusing. I'm looking away. Make sure that it's filled with contrast. And when I say that, again, that could be in color in a good way, right? You don't want it vibrating where, again, it's assaulting anybody. But bold and thin, more corporate looking along with the sketchy looking. Those elements really help make it interesting to look at, so that it's not all the same. It doesn't feel like all the same typeface with all the same size, with all the same importance. Design principles is really important for you to be able to signify a hierarchy of information. Like, where do you want people to look, and what are you telling them is important by how you've designed it? So again, I'm going to take care of a lot of that heavy lifting in the templates that I create. But if you're looking at creating things from scratch, I'm going to be dropping in some of those tips along the way as well, just as a designer, in case you're interested in learning more about that. I know some of you may be like, hey, I don't have time for that. I'm not really interested in that. I just need to have these graphics designed and then be off to the races. if that's you, we got you covered. If you want a little more in depth, we'll get you covered that way too. So I want to be faithful to the time that I allotted and told you guys. I really appreciate you guys being here tonight, and so many of you just, I know that this is going to be helpful for you. So I hope that you do decide to become part of this membership. And any last questions before we sign off? Everybody doing all right? I know it was like drinking from the fire hose tonight a bit. Thank you. I appreciate that, that you guys enjoyed this. And, again, it's at the end of the day, it really is about using this as a tool and not being frustrated by it. And wherever you have to start, if you have to start real simple and small, start simple and small. You can always build and scale, but do what's comfortable for you and make sure that you're getting the results that you need, for what you're going to use it for in social media. So awesome. I'm really happy that you guys were here. I'm glad that this was helpful to you. I hope it was fun also. Like I said, I really try to make sure that it's something that's engaging. And I look forward to, hopefully doing some more of these. Again, if you decide you want to be a part of the Sketchy Canva Club, just go to sketchycanvaclub.com. You can sign up tonight. And there'll be more of these things that'll definitely be happening. And, I love creating resources to help other people, because at the end of the day, if you win, I feel like I win. So thank you guys. And if there's no more questions, I'm going to end the call and release you guys to go ahead and have some fun in Canva. All right. I think we're good. All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Have a good night.